Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Star Trek tells a perfect joke about Voyager's Tom Paris look-alike. Lower Decks confronts the similarities between Robert Duncan McNeill's two Star Trek characters with a joke about Voyager's Paris and TNG's Locarno. Star Trek Lower Deck Season 4 finale makes a perfect joke about Star Trek. Voyager's Lieutenant Tom Paris, Robert Duncan McNeill, and his doppelganger. In Old Friends, New Planets, Lieutenant J.G. Beckett Mariner, Tawny Newsome, tries to prevent Nick Locarno, Robert Duncan McNeill, from detonating his stolen Genesis device. Independent Captain Locarno has assembled Nova Fleet, a supposed coalition of equals that is nothing of the sort. Tossed out of Starfleet Academy for covering up a fatal accident, Nick Locarno is bitter and resentful, and has decided to make his own legacy despite the cost to those who've joined his Nova Fleet. Introduced in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode, Cadet Nick Locarno was the first of Robert Duncan McNeill's two Star Trek characters. Locarno was briefly considered as the pilot of the U.S. Voyager, but instead McNeill was cast as reformed Maquis traitor Tom Paris. Given a shot at redemption by Captain Catherine Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, Paris became a Starfleet legend thanks to his role in piloting Voyager across the Delta Quadrant. His legendary status was confirmed in the Star Trek Lower Decks episode We'll Always Have Tom Paris, which is why Nick Locarno looks so familiar to one of the Lower Deckers in the Season 4 finale. Lower Decks' joke about Tom Paris and Nick Locarno being identical is perfect. While watching Nick Locarno's address to the Federation, Lieutenant Junior Grade Sam Rutherford, Eugene Cordero, turns to Lieutenant J.G. Bradward Boimler, Jack Quaid, and points out that he looks like Tom Paris. Hilariously, Boimler fails to see the similarity between the two men, despite getting up close and personal with Paris on his visit to the U.S. Cerritos. Pushing Boimler to see the similarity, Rutherford hilariously points out that they have the exact same face, but again Boimler doesn't see it. It's a brilliant gag about the long list of actors who've played multiple characters in the Star Trek franchise without anyone noticing the similarities. For example, Penny Johnson-Gerald played Dobara, the sister-in-law of Lieutenant Worf, Michael Dorn, in Star Trek The Next Generation. She and Dorn were later reunited on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where she played Cassidy Yates, with nobody commenting on the similarities. Star Trek Lower Decks Locarno and Paris confusion is a typically irreverent spin on this trope, made even funnier by Boimler's name-checking of Star Trek's Maquis in comparison to Locarno's Nova Fleet. The similarities between the Maquis and Nova Fleet further emphasize the fact that Paris and Locarno are practically the same guy. Why Star Trek? Voyager created Tom Paris instead of using Nicholas Locarno. Star Trek Voyager's producers deemed that Nick Locarno was beyond redemption after his role in the Nova Squadron scandal. After his attempt to pull off the banned Colvard Starburst maneuver resulted in the death of Joshua Albert, Locarno oversaw a cover-up. So determined was Locarno to preserve his career, he sullied the reputation of the deceased Josh by blaming the young cadet for the fatal accident. Eventually, Cadet Wesley Crusher, Will Wheaton, came clean about their plan to attempt the deadly maneuver. Star Trek Lower Decks Wesley Crusher cameo reminds viewers of Nick Locarno's determination to become a living legend at the expense of everyone else. As someone who put his crew at risk and then covered up a fatal accident, Locarno would have had an uphill struggle to redeem himself on Star Trek Voyager. Because Tom Paris didn't spend much time in the Maquis, he was easier to redeem. Star Trek Lower Decks has finally given Nick Locarno a redemption of sorts by naming his very own Genesis planet after him, making it the home of refugees for decades to come. Thanks for watching.